Hello and welcome, my Leo Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your Timeless True Love read recorded in February 2021. I am your reader, Mark Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short. Professional edge, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, Leo Rising, the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons. But you can call me Mal. Hello, my Leonines. How are you, my kitty cats? Ready to rock and roll? Let's rock and roll. We are doing a Path of True Love read, a timeless Path of True Love read about your spiritual path, your hero's journey, your healing journey through the archetypal lenses of your relationships, all shapes and sizes, sometimes romantic, sexual, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's work. Only you will know that it is, after all, a general read, right? So as ever, please take what resonates, leave what doesn't. We're only doing 12 cards here, 2 Caroline Myss archetype cards, and on top of that, I will build a 10 card Celtic Cross spread, pretty classic. The 2 archetype cards, one will represent you, the first card down, and the second will represent another person who crosses your path on the path of true love. You with me? So there's none of that, you know, divine feminine, divine masculine stuff. You have to take that as it comes. All the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box, along with some links about true love itself that you may find of interest and for some education about a very mysterious path, a mystical path that we have been on for lifetimes. We're reincarnating with the same souls over and over and over so that we learn, heal, grow, become the best that we can be, and fulfill our role in the divine plan, if you want to call it the great ineffable plan. Is that the ineffable great plan? If you want to, you know, Terry Pratchett, Neil Gaiman, Good Omens, it's all that. So you can't be outside of the divine plan. The universe always has a plan. So it's just your way of navigating through it, like GPS. I always feel like Celtic Cross spreads are like GPS, right? It's like you're up in the satellite and looking down. And of course, you have all sorts of free will choices and decisions as you go. That's how you play your role, like in a video game, right? You got your stats, your stamina points, you know, your health points, all that stuff. I was always a caster. I played that stuff. Always a witch, always a magician, but there you have it. Mage, I think is what they called it at the time. So let's get up in this gig. Stay in the present moment as best you can. Feet on the floor. Focus on your breath. That's what keeps me going. To bring you the clarity, guidance, and grace that I can, using my pantheons of the divine, to which I am soul bonded and contracted to serve, but they serve you through me. That's how that works, Virgo that I am, though Leo rising, and don't I make it look good? Let's get up in this gig. Please take a nice deep breath. Because so many people are looking for true love because they've experienced so much false love. They just said, which is necessary, right? How do you know what's true until you've been through what's false? You know, codependent relationship, abusive, neglectful, dealing with the wounds of loss. All of that stuff has such an impact within our own nervous system, let alone our energy system, and in our relationships. So let's see what you got here. My collective pantheons, here we go, of angels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, I need one card to represent the Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. I'm watching this reading. It's a timeless read, but for February 2021, when I'm doing this, for those that are checking my content on the regular here, my loyal subscribers, my pantheons, who is crossing them on the path of true love, February 2021 or timeless? Let's find out. Now, these cards can be triggering in a way they're supposed to be. They list the shadow and the light attributes of different Jungian archetypes as defined by Caroline Myss, PhD, medical intuitive. She's amazing. She's my favorite female spiritual teacher. So the shadow attribute, this is not horrible. The shadow attribute is what you don't want to look at within yourself. And if you have acknowledged it within yourself, you don't want anybody to know about it, right? Hence, in the shadow. So you are being represented as dealing with having the storyteller archetype. Now, this could be you, this could be the situation that you're in, but nonetheless, it's like the storyteller archetype, creative family archetype, in its shadow is incredibly dangerous and toxic. You'd say, storyteller? How could that be dangerous? You know, like reading Rainbow kind of stuff? No, the shadow attribute, making up tales that harm others, including yourself. And the mind is sort of geared to do that limbic brain, right? The reptilian brain, that when we don't know what's going on, it just starts giving us reasons for things. It's happening because of this, because it's Mercury retrograde, because you stepped on a crack, hence you broke somebody's mother's back, right? It's like, and we believe it, right? So that's how we harm ourselves with that. But if you're not coming out and speaking truth, then you are creating a false narrative, right? Whether it's to yourself or to someone else. So keep your eye on that. You always want to keep your eye on a private hidden agenda, because when you least expect it, if you're not aware of it, it can take you over in what's called shadow possession. The light attribute, though, ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols, which is kind of literally what I do for a living. I am Leo rising, and I have a touch of the storyteller in me. My father, however, was such a storyteller. We were like, oh my God, that same story. It changed every time, right? So he had a lot of that kind of, I'm not saying those words, I'm not going to say the FN phrase, but let's just say a false narrative, right? That he would change it to make himself look better. And, you know, at the end of the night, my brother and I would look at each other. It's like, how many different versions of that story did you hear tonight? And we were little kids, right? So sort of grew up around that. I'm very familiar. Now, who's crossing your path this is really lovely, actually. Everybody has the child, the victim, the saboteur, and the prostitute archetype. It's the survival family. I know they don't sound great. But read Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Mace, or by all means, catch a YouTube video. She's got billions of them, it seems, if not her, than people who have commented or do her work. Dealing with the child archetype, but a sub-pattern called the divine child archetype, which is just lovely. Well, but in its shadow, an inability to defend oneself against negative forces. So what does the divine child do when it can't do that, right? It tends to run and hide. It's what's called the runaway, right? It's not the chaser, it's the runaway. So, you know, can't defend itself against negative forces, what other people are saying, what other people are thinking, what other people are doing, right? Can't watch the news, right? It's too triggering, which I understand. There's a sensitivity there, an innocence, and the light attribute, innocence, first word down, purity and redemption, right? So that child that believes that everything can be redeemed, like no matter what the transgression was, that there is a healing there, that we're all innocent at core, and extremely trusting, hence an inability to defend themselves against negative forces, particularly if someone's lying to them. So be very, very truthful. Yes, you can put it in a symbolic story. Like you can tell your story, well, you know, it's been quite the journey, like the 12 labors of Hercules in my pantheon, but you see what I'm saying? So innocence, purity, and redemption suggests a special connection with the divine, like really may identify with the divine as mother, father, right? And therefore feeling that connection and that inheritance of power. Really off to a very interesting start. Let's start layering some tarot on there. So really these first two cards down are the cover and the cross, right? The first two positions of the Celtic Cross. Please take a nice deep breath. As I use the Daughters of the Moon Tarot in tandem with my goddesses, the divine feminine pantheons that I work with, we're going to build this one card at a time, face down, and then we will turn them over one at a time. Please take a nice deep breath again. Yeah, this is going to be more perhaps the internal experience of things than the external. There is an extended version. I keep forgetting to say that. There is an extended version on Vimeo. The link is down below, where we will take the mythic tarot, which is the masculine aspect, the yang energy, the gods, to see what this looks like on the outside. But at this point, about a path of true love read, this is all about you. This is sort of like either your experience or what you're picking up intuitively, emotionally, you know, more heart, throat, third eye, and crown than root, sacrum, and solar plexus. So please, my goddesses, this storyteller, this Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this video, please, what is the card that covers them on the path of true love? This divine child in the cross, please clarify what crosses them on the path of true love with that divine child. What is at the core, the subconscious stuff, what they're not aware of, what might be going on that neither one of them might have any idea about, right? Subconscious, we go so far as to say unconscious, but subconscious, what they don't see going on or see coming. What's behind them, where have they been on the path of true love? What crowns them, what's coming into being, sort of more immediate future, but not quite the present, right? Something crowning, coming in, if you'd like to think of it like coming down from the 8th chakra into the crown, right? Making its way into incarnation. What is before this Leo on the path of true love, as we now have our cross. Let's build the staff. What is their lesson, what the universe is trying to teach them in all of this? Because all lessons, their true purpose is to teach us how to love ourselves, to heal ourselves, and to help others heal, soulmate. But if you're only like being taught how to love yourself in a relationship, taught how to love yourself sounds good, but that means they can't give you the love that they want. That's twin flame. And do check out the Matt Kahn video in the description box, Soul Contracts, Twin Flames, and Soulmates Redefined. It's quite a game changer. My goddesses, what does this look like on the outside, from how the world sees this from the outside looking in? What is the fate with the possibility of being alchemized into destiny on the path of true love for the Leo, and what is their most probable outcome in this timeline of this lifetime, according to the GPS? You can always change GPS, right? You either change your destination, but the the universe always has a plan. It will reroute you without you even knowing it. So let's see our first two cards. This is you, this is them, the divine child. Well, interesting, we have court cards here. Here we have the Sagittarius card of Cerridwen, or Cerridwen, I've heard it said so many times, Celtic goddess of the cauldron, of change, of transformation. She's most known for the myth of her cauldron of transformation. So that Sagittarius energy, now this could say, of course, that you have some Sag planets in you, right? If it's your moon sign, you know, whatever, but it is definitely fire. And this really does represent you in terms of having many different desires, right? Element of fire, right? Desire, will, choice, action in that sense. So you've got a lot of different arrows in your quiver, a lot of different things that you want to experience. And why wouldn't you? But again, be careful of the stories you tell yourself of what's possible and what's impossible, because everything, well, I'll say everything is probable, it's just not always possible, right? It depends. Sometimes it is a matter of time, particularly because you're dealing with a divine child who represents, or at least feels like, a Scorpio, Hecate. So you have the Sagittarius card, which would be the Knight of Wands in the traditional tarot. So maybe you are a little bit of a player right now, having fun. I kind of like that vibe, though, as long as you know that the story that you're telling is authentic, at least to yourself, and what you're saying is authentic. Because, you know, if you're just dropping lines and lies here and there, telling a story just to get what you want, no bueno. That doesn't work real well. Well, it's not that you can't do it on the path of true love. We certainly have. We've never been off the path of true love. You can't be off the path of true love. Love is who you truly are, right? It's about chipping away the excess marble to reveal the divine being underneath. Michelangelo reference. So yeah, just be really, really, really careful about being honest and truthful. You can spin a yarn, but let it be a quality level yarn. Because dealing with a Scorpio, they probably have this would be the Queen of Cups, very, very, very hidden emotions, but very, very deep. I would even go so far as to say mystical, because 8th chakra is mysticism. It's the hidden, it's the occult, that occluded spiritual stuff. And with the divine child, which suggests a special connection with the divine, they might be very divinely guided. We will see what else hits the table. And by the way, in the extended read, I've got a whole table full of oracle cards over there, although we will be using tarot as well. in the extended. So by the end of this, you should know, if this is yours, if you haven't already, well, this does make sense, and whether you want to jump over to Vimeo, you've got the moon card. So what you both don't see, you both can't see, except there is a strong intuitive pull here. The path is always under your feet, but when the moon is full, when you stand at the water's edge, the path is revealed. But you can't always stand at the water's edge, right, so to speak. Sometimes you just have to walk in faith, knowing that you don't know. It does feel like, being that it's your first major arcana card, and in the subconscious position, what you both are not aware of, is that there is a lot of emotion here, but there's not a lot of clarity. And that would make sense with this Scorpio. It might be that they're feeling it, and there might be an empathic link here, what I call, well, there's telepathy, but there's telepathy, right? Where you're literally communicating through emotions and feelings, right? So there might be a shared intuition here. Now, if this is purely just talking about you, deep down inside, you just don't know. You might feel a bunch of different ways, and why wouldn't that represent itself in that Sagittarius in terms of having different ways of feeling about what you want, right? At like 10 a.m., it might be, I really want that, and by noon, you're like, yeah, I don't know. Right? Things are cloudy. Also, I kind of feel there's a little bit of a meh here, you know, like meh, a little bit of a Four of Cups. We'll see if that shows up. Because it does feel like if you are dealing with somebody with a divine child, they might be hiding things, right? That they don't want you to know because you might yell at them, right? They'll tell their mom and dad, God and God is on you. I'm sort of kidding, but sort of not, right? So where is this all coming from? What's in the past? Six of Cups. So in this deck called Jealousy, I don't know that I'm necessarily getting that, but it does make sense with this card of the moon. So far we've got really like three basic water cards here. The moon is definitely the Cancerian card, being that they are the moon children, right? So, we are looking at dreams and fantasies and options. And yeah, that sort of irritation or rage on her face, kind of spilling the martini glasses out of wrath and jealousy. I don't get that here, but I do get that, you know, it would make sense that here you are really with all of these arrows of fire, right? Sagittarius, mutable fire. That's my sound effect for flaming arrows. And regular arrows, by the way. You have failed this city. So, of course, with these options behind you, you're now getting a little bit more clarity and seeing that in these options, you may want a bunch of them, and some of them might be mutually exclusive, right? Like to commit or stay single, right? But I'm not feeling indecision, but I am feeling a little emotional occlusion. I love that word. When something's occluded, it's cloudy. So not really sure how you feel, but there are definitely emotions in there, and they may very well be conflicting. I would say, you know, see them as characters within yourself. Let them each have a voice, and if you write, like, let each one of them express themselves. And certainly, if you are the cross watcher here and you're identified as the divine child, then really inner child work for you is just going to be wonderful, because you go directly to the divine and say, I don't know what to do. Please show me. I don't know how to defend myself. I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, and I don't know how to do this, right? When a child comes innocently and asks to a loving parent, so to speak, what wouldn't the parent do? But when the child pretends, right? It's like, you go ahead, you keep pretending when you're ready. When you're ready to come tell me the truth, when you're ready to really show me what's going on here, I'll be glad to help, right? And that's how it is with the divine. What is crowning here? Well, Ace of Pentacles. There is a new opportunity coming in. It hasn't hit yet, and true, it is just a beginning. So I'm not so sure that you know this person, honestly. And that might be that moon. It's like, I feel this connection, but I just don't know, right? What is this? And if you do know each other, then this Ace of Pentacles is going to give you a nice solid seed, a stable beginning in which to grow something. Yeah, of course it's going to start as an idea. I mean, but you're both thinking, right? You can't really stop thinking. Even in meditation, you watch the thoughts. But there is this sense of something with a solid potential here, but only a beginning, not even a foundation, a seed. What comes of that? What's before them on the path is the Five of Flames, the Five of Wands. Now, this is Pele the volcano. Now, as much as we see this as conflict, and granted, this is more the internal stuff, heart, third eye, crown, this can very much be about, like a volcano, something that has been building up for a very long time and is now ready to explode. Is this anger? Is this conflict? Or is this pressure that's been building up for a very long time? Now, I will say the only other fire card here is Sagittarius, so it might be that you finally get fed up with all of these different things that you want and really just exploding. And I would say launching the set of arrows that you really want. That would take you from the 5 to the 6, which in this deck is play, and 7 is victory. I know 6 of Wands is usually considered victory or recognition. But just even touching the card, like I feel like this is like, I can't do this anymore. I'm moving forward. I'm taking action. And it feels like that's you, but that could be both of you as well. Again, in the extended, we will clarify that. What is the lesson here for you all is justice, at least for you. That's your second major arcana card. We're looking at fairness. We are looking at possibly past life stuff coming in here, influencing this, or things that need to be healed, right? Past life stuff, right? And that's why I don't want to say this is a karmic relationship. I don't think the justice card immediately, because to me, all karmic relationships are twin flame, right? Matt Kahn has just clarified that for me immensely these past couple of years, and I base my readings on that, so you might want to check that out if you're kind of dealing with the old twin flame soulmate definitions, which are very confusing. He's a true voice of clarity. So I'm going to say this is not just about coming into balance, but about doing things fairly, right? Remember the shadow side of this, right? Making up tales that harm others, and we're never quite aware of how much hurt we leave behind when we do harm, right? And that might be part of this. You might even well be telling yourself a story about this. Oh, well, they're too young, they're too immature, they're whatever, and that could really lead, if you know this person, I mean, we're dealing with the child archetype, everybody has it, but that divine innocence and that redemption, it's like, I feel like your lesson here is really to balance this out with this person, have the conversation, set healthy boundaries, and maybe teach them how to do this, but you can do it as a storyteller. You can say, well, it's like this. It's like you have a bonfire and I have a bonfire. And it seems like I can run over and help you build your bonfire, but then mine starts going out. So then I rush back over there and then you're not building your bonfire, right? So it starts to go out. And what we both need to do is build our own bonfires so that they come together, right? There are certain things I love to do for you and certain things that I really can't do for you. Would love to, but I can't, right? That sort of thing, balance it out. That's your lesson. In fact, this whole story here is one of justice and balance here. I kind of dig it. Now, just to say, there's a certain lighthearted quality that comes with this, because this is Ma'at, Egyptian goddess. I don't know if she's necessarily an Egyptian goddess of the dead. She is an Egyptian goddess of justice, but her most common portrayal is weighing the human heart after death against an ostrich feather, or usually a feather of some kind. If the heart is heavier than the feather, well, in one version of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, a demon eats you. Well, that's lovely. In another, you just reincarnate, right? You just come back. But if it is equal to, balance, or lighter than the feather, meaning you were light of heart, you did what you came here to do, you processed what you came to process, then you move on to the next level, you move on, whatever that is. So this could very much be, with all of these options, some of your options, I mean, like this could certainly be your own child. I mean, nothing here screams sexual romance here, but it's just very, very confusing, and to get that, more of that is coming. So how do you balance that out? Like, what are the rules and regulations that and boundaries that either need to be created or shifted, right, to balance this out? From the outside looking in, this feels very Aries. It is the Aries card, the King of Wands, in this deck, Calafia, the Maiden of Blades, the Aries card. So from the outside looking in, this does feel young, right? It feels fresh. It's like, I want to say, when I use Daughters of the Moon in this position, or, you know, when I do this spread, it's not how it appears. That's like very physical, where how it looks. I use that, but this is very much how it feels. Like this is something new, and this is something fresh, and this is something with great potential. but it is the child of the zodiac, Aries, first sign of the zodiac. Now, it could be that this person is an Aries, or has it in their charts, but we know Aries is usually in its shadow very impulsive in its destruction, right? I want it, I want it, I want it. It will break everything in the house. I love it when the universe gives me sound effects. The garbage man is here. They're dumping the dumpster right in front of my house. Right? Bull in a china shop, though, that's Taurus. But, like Rami, right? So, but from the outside looking in, that could be you as well. Maybe kind of like, why doesn't this make sense? Which would make sense if you're headed into the volcano. And I will say the 6th and the 10th positions are something you can change. It's sort of the point of GPS, right? It's like if you have Google Maps, it's like, oh, red streak ahead, let's take another way. I don't know how much you can avoid this, because I do feel like this molten magma underneath the surface here for you isn't all about this divine child representing as the Scorpio. With Hecate there, they're probably making really crossroad decisions in their lives, and they just don't know what to do. But it feels like there's a lot of repression here. You repressing fire, them repressing water. Which, is also totally okay when you first meet somebody. But if this is somebody you have been with before, it would indicate that something unfair has gone on and still is and needs to balance. And this might be you as the one who initiates it, or at least that's how it's feeling from the outside looking in. What is the fate to be alchemized into destiny on the hero's path to true love? That Capricorn card, look, I'm going to say there's a lot of people involved here. Already you have 4 court cards, which does indicate either different aspects of your own personalities, or the zodiacal energy itself. 10th house Capricorn energy, slow and steady wins the race. There is a higher potential, if not the highest potential available here, but it's going to take work, and it's not going to go fast. So this 5 of flames that you're coming into could very well be impatience. And I feel like that divine child, right, it depends on where they are on that lead to gold scale, that shadow to light scale. But this really feels like you're represented by mutable fire, and what's more mutable moving fire than a volcano exploding? So I can feel that could be impatience. That could be like, right? I channeled Muttley. I just channeled Muttley. If you know who Muttley is, Hanna-Barbera. But this is a slow and steady win the race. Even a mountain goat doesn't run up a mountain, right? It's one step at a time. But it also says that your destiny here, how you hewn destiny from your fate, which is the lead to gold thing, of course, take this slow it down. This divine child may not have the ability to handle the negativity that you might be feeling. That for you might not feel like negativity, right? It might just feel like I'm just inflamed, right? Just don't make any major decisions when you are inflamed, right? Feel it, express it privately, and what I do, well, I am a Virgo. Right, put it into art, put it into creativity. There's this mantra in the Matt Kahn Healing Mantra deck, I am a most powerful when my creativity is given a voice. Well, what is fire energy? Often creativity, right? So to express that in some way, because this is going to take some time, but it's developing the highest potential in you, and I feel like this Scorpio represented divine child, and the both of you, this does feel kind of soulmate then. Yes, it's going to be slow and steady wins the race, but as one of you heal, the other one heals. That's the quantum entanglement of soulmate. You might want to check out your soulmate read, and sure enough, what's your outcome? Temperance. That it is going to take time to balance this out. And interestingly enough, in this deck, balancing the element of fire, desire, and the element of water, emotion, which feels very much like what I'm looking at here in the center of the Celtic Cross. So this feels like something that could probably stand the test of time, but it's going to take time for it to balance out. There's discipline that's going to be needed here. There are boundaries that are going to be needed here, but this is also very much a healing card. It might be very much that what you want and what you feel, your fire and your water, are not matched, right? There's a way to do it. It's like when it's like, oh, I want that. That feels so good, right? I'm so excited. Oh, I want that, right? That's very much a water and fire balance. But if it is sort of one foot on the gas, I really want it, but oh, I don't know. I'm so confused, which is kind of what this feels like. Look, get clear within yourself. 100% clear, do the best you can, but get some more clarity for yourself. It feels like once the volcano blows, so to speak, you're going to have a lot more clarity once the ash has settled. I was going to say dust, but it's volcanic ash, which is, by the way, some of the most mineral-rich substance on the planet, right? That's why the volcanic islands are like verdant. I love that word. Very green, right? Very, like the pineapples in Hawaii are just a little bit different than anywhere else because of that volcanic soil, right? And obsidian, right? Obsidian is volcanic glass, essentially. And obsidian knives can be incredibly sharp, almost like flint. So there's a lot of potential here, no question, on the path of true love. But regardless, there's a lot of confusion and clarity here, some hidden emotion and some repressed desire that needs to be balanced out, tempered. Now, I've been using this as a metaphor. If you've ever had to temper eggs or temper chocolate when cooking, you know you can't do it fast, right? You have to stir that shit slowly and keep it on low heat, right? Very much that Capricorn in your destiny position, and that temperance in your outcome. So may the Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need on the path of true love, with this divine child crossing their path, that they may both heal, grow, learn, help each other heal, be the best that they can be, move forward in this relationship with this Ace of Pentacles crowning, to move through what needs to be moved through step by step, to balance this out, to make it fair, to bring it into alignment with the very best of both of you as you develop your highest potential for the well-being of all. So mote it be. And so it is. There you have it. Did you like it? Did it make sense? Hit the like. Hit the like button. Like it! You want more? Subscribe. Comment below. I love reading the comments. I usually reply to all of them at the end of a cycle or a series. But there you have it. I actually have to start a new series tomorrow because new moon's coming up. I have to do the new moon to full moon reads. Got to start graphing those out. Otherwise, wishing you the very best and the very blessed. Remember, there is an extended video. If this is your read, go click the link. It does take a few minutes to change over unless you already have a Vimeo account, but I'm going to be doing that next. I'm going to be recording that out and putting that up as soon as it is done. In the meantime, wishing you all the very best and the very blessed on the path of true love, my Leos. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.